on, get some fire into it, Ben. Tell me when.
Good evening, and welcome to the Rideshare Adventure podcast. This is Ben from the producer booth, and we'll switch over to the other guys in just a second. But good evening to all of you fine listeners. Thank you for joining us this evening. We've got some rideshare stories, rideshare in the news. We've also got a fundraiser type of thing that we're going to be doing to benefit some rideshare drivers in our community. So all this and more coming up.
Nice intro, Ben. Hi guys, welcome to the GR Rideshare. That was awesome. That's going to be our new thing. Ben's going to be our introducer.
Producer Ben. I like
Producer
it.
Ben.
Producer Ben.
Yeah, let us know in the feedback on our little Ben cam if you guys like it. So it's Jesper and I tonight. I did some poor planning and.
No, it wasn't just your fault.
Well, it kind. Yeah, you're right. It was all of our faults. But yesterday I realized, oh crap, we got a live stream on Wednesday, and I need to find somebody. So I guess I chose Jesper. So
sorry, guys.
That's okay. So how was your last 2 weeks? Let's get right into it. I will talk about mine. I had a long week of rideshare. Not any long rides. So just a little feedback, a little backstory. I'm doing some seasonal UPS work, and I was expecting to work 8 to 10 hour days. Well, yeah, the beard, exactly. It's all gone. So Justin wants me to put together a video of like 20 pictures with like a sad song behind it. I wanted to do the Sarah McLachlan, I Will Remember You, but I know we'll get pulled down from YouTube in like 1 second.
Should do the Cup song.
The Cup?
The new verse to the Cup song.
I don't know that one.
Oh, come on, keep going.
But yeah, so we might put something together with that. But yeah, so I thought I was going to be working 8 to 10 hours a day. Well, come to find out, I was working 4, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to, I have to hit a budget. I have to hit a number. I have a goal what I want to make, and so I did a lot of daytime driving, and so it was a long week. My butt actually got sore. I mean, it was like I was in the chair. I don't know how many hours I worked, but it was probably close to 30, I would guess. But it was a good week. One frustrating thing is every time I turned around, all the buddies, Ben, and he'll talk about it later, but we're getting long rides. Like Uber Phil, he got like a ton of long rides, and I didn't get nothing. So I did some Grubhub, some DoorDash, but other than that, I know. Other than that, it was a pretty good week. No crazy stories or anything like that. Not anything that comes to mind. So what about you?
So I didn't drive last weekend at all. I decided to take the weekend off, and we got my wife and I.
Yes, Ben?
What just happened?
Oh, sorry.
Okay. So
it's distracting. It threw us off.
So my wife and I actually ended up getting a nice night out for us. So that was nice. We went and saw the Bohemian Rhapsody movie. That is awesome.
Oh, for some reason,
not at all like what you said.
It wasn't.
No, it's awesome.
No, I didn't. No, listen, I wasn't saying it was bad.
Well, no, I know, but what you were saying was that only 10% of the movie was about the band before he dies, and then the rest is about what happens afterwards. That's not at all true.
How far into the movie? Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! How far into the movie does he croak?
Well, at the end.
Really?
Yeah, it's all about the original, the beginning. So yeah, and
it was worth seeing though. Like you would recommend
totally
it.
Awesome.
Would it be worth like going to the theater, spending the big bucks, or wait till it comes out on stream?
That's what we did. We went to the AMC on Alpine, the nice seats and all that stuff, and it was awesome. But I've always loved Queen, and it's so cool to see the whole backstory about how it actually happened, and kind of see the guy used to be a baggage handler at Heathrow. Okay. I mean, that's where he came from. And,
that's crazy.
And yeah, then he just kind of was in the right spot in the right time, and yeah, it was awesome. Great movie.
Queen is one of those bands that stays on, or what am I trying to say, that just keeps going. Everyone likes Queen. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not just Bohemian Rhapsody, but there's some other Queen songs you're like, oh, I love this one.
Because everything they did was so new and awesome.
Yes, edgy.
And there was one of the scenes in the movie, and I don't want to tell a lot of things, but one of the scenes where they fill up the Wembley, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
You see, it's just crazy. So anyway, so back to driving. I drove the weekend before that.
Hang on one sec. I apologize. Hey, Ben, did you press record on Audacity? No? It's okay. It's all right. Just had a thought about it. Also, Nick says that the feed is frozen, so it's better now? Okay. I apologize, Jesper.
No, that's okay. I mean,
I'm glad I caught it within 10 minutes in and not...
Ben.
Yes, I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one.
He was so excited about his intro and forgot to press play. That's awesome, Ben. Good job. Good job, Ben.
Where's that checklist?
Yeah, boy.
I'm going to print it. I actually have a printer now, #printer, in my office, and I'm going to print it and laminate it and put it all around.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Anyways.
We should make it a backdrop on the wall behind.
Yeah, so when we go to the Ben cam,
yeah.
the checklist is behind him.
There you go.
So anyways, no,
that's cool. So the weekend before that, I drove Friday and Saturday, and
DoorDash.
It was a pretty normal weekend. I mean, earnings wise, it's definitely more busy with the snow. And yeah, the new thing I had was you talked me into doing DoorDash, and so I did 2 of those on Friday.
I think it's I go ahead.
I was going to say it's fine. It's totally fine. It's 2 different things, right? It's a completely different thing than doing rideshare driving, and kind of walking away from it. I'll do them if they fit, and if it's a nice thing. But all the things that I like about rideshare driving, I don't get by delivering food.
No.
Because it's the experiences, it's the people in my car. I actually do like that. It's I see it as my therapy. I love talking to people. I don't get any of that when I just deliver food. So I don't get that experience. And it's not, I mean, don't get me wrong, the money's nice, but it's not just the money.
Yeah.
So.
I find it's a nice break from passengers if you're really not in the mood to deal with drunks that night or whatever. Right. You can do some food delivery.
Or you could stay home.
That's true too. I could stay home, but tell about your experience when first couple one and how you were frustrated with that.
So my first one I was actually pretty frustrated with. It was at a restaurant downtown. I won't mention it. And I got there and they hadn't even put the order in.
And now, how long of you got the ping? How long did it take for you to get there?
9 minutes.
Okay,
so I get there.
So that's pretty quick.
No, absolutely. And as I said, then I got there, and the waiter was the waitress was very nice, and she was very apologetic and all that stuff, and she kept saying, "Oh, just be another 5 minutes, and it was 45 minutes till I left the restaurant.
Yeah.
I mean, and at that point, they did tip well, so that was nice, and they gave me a $5 tip, but it was still only $19 for 45 minutes, and it's like $17. Sorry, $17.
Yeah.
And so that just really wasn't worth it. So you really have to be careful. I like what you said. Your limit thing. If it's not, I think it's $9.
It's typically $10. I base it on the airport. So if I get an Uber X from the airport,
sure.
Because I mean, I guess, and I have gone below. Like during the day when I drove, I'm like, you know what? I can't be as picky as at night. So I took some $8 ones. But DoorDash is like Grubhub. You know what you're going to make right away. It's not like Uber Eats. You just don't know what you're going to make. And that Uber Eats is terrible.
So DoorDash, the first 2 hours I was online, I think it was Friday.
Yeah, I can't remember which day. But
Friday or Saturday. The first 2 hours I was online, I made practically nothing. I mean, I think I made less than $30 total those 2 hours. And it was because of DoorDash and a couple of tiny rides. But then the rest of the night made up for it. I mean, I got really busy, and I had back-to-back XL rides downtown, and a lot of those was Surge. So
yeah, so I shared my referral link to you, and then now it's $750, and I shared it with the other guys. Now you have to do 125 rides in I think 90 days. Or deliveries.
Mine.
Well, I know. Well, what I told the other guys is I would split it with them because I get $750, they only get 100. So I'm like, that's not fair. So it's friends I know, and hopefully they do it. I doubt they will. I mean, you really have to be dedicated to DoorDash. You can't do anything else. You have to take everything they give you.
And full time. I mean, almost.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what that breaks down to per month or per weekend, but with the Weekend Warriors, I don't think they're going to hit the 125. So
it's gonna be hard. I mean, with me too. I'm gonna have my last day in this state on the 20th, and then I'll be gone for 3 weeks. Almost.
So you got like maybe 2 weekends left, but yeah, I know I'm not counting on the bonus from you at all. But just to recap that, Grubhub and DoorDash is the way to go if you're going to do food delivery. Now, it might not be as quick of or deliveries. You may not get as many, but you're going to get quality ones. You're going to know what you make the second you accept it. So, all right, Benjamin, how are we doing out there? I've turned my notifications off because they were blowing up, so I hope everything's going well.
Things are going well.
Excellent. So, what about your 2 weeks? I know you had a long ride to.
Did have a long ride
somewhere.
My long ride brought me up to Lake City.
Oh, that's right.
Which is about 2 hours north.
Yep.
So, and it was at, I believe, 11 o'clock. So I'm doing the math in my head, and I'm thinking, I'm not going to get home until 3 in the morning.
And missed surge.
And missed the surge.
Well, there's not much surge.
There really wasn't. So, and actually, it was a pretty peaceful drive. I was just worried about staying awake on the way home because that is a boring drive.
Well, it's the same thing I had with Traverse City. I picked that Traverse City ride at 11:30.
Right.
And I was like, and it was so busy when I was up there. I wanted to pick up XLs up in Traverse City. Like, it was bumping. But I had to get home for my dog. What I was going to do is take rides in Traverse City and then sleep in my car. But Megan and the kids were gone, and I had to get home for the dog.
Right.
So, which kind of sucked. But how was your passenger? Was it a single guy? What was his story?
Yeah, it was a single guy, and I'm going to switch to the Ben cam because I can't.
I always wonder when you get those long rides, and you're like, really? What are you doing?
Yeah. So it was a single guy, and he was coming from the airport. It was the eve of Thanksgiving. I assumed that he was here for Thanksgiving.
Right, which would be pretty obvious.
And so I asked him, so you're here to see some family for Thanksgiving? He goes, pardon? And I said, Thanksgiving. He gives me a funny look. He's like, no, I'm here for work. I thought he was kidding. And turns out he works for a sawmill construction company, and they were in Lake City building a sawmill. So,
and he was Canadian, you said?
He was very Canadian.
So,
thick accent. It was pretty fun.
I was talking to Megan about that, or somebody was telling me that Canada does have a Thanksgiving.
They do, but it's earlier.
Was it you I was talking to, or was somebody I was talking to?
I don't know, maybe.
I was like, no, they don't. All right. So next up, we're just going to talk about a couple of things before we jump into the news. We have a swag store now. It is. I almost went www like back in the old days. It's Zazzle.com/GRrideshare. And it has all some cool things on there. We have a shirt, I'll tip you in the app, which is the funny one. We also have a hat that Jesper designed that's up there.
Put a logo on it.
Well, come on, give yourself a little. You did some work with it. I mean, it's the logo we've had. Zazzle's pretty cool.
It is.
We don't make a ton of money on those. Obviously, anything we make goes into the business. So it's very, very small amount. But, people that want some stuff can go there and buy it. And then if you want something for free, we're still doing the iTunes send a review or get a review on iTunes, subscribe, rate, blah, 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 all that stuff. And if you send us the information, you can pick something out of the store. So they're all relatively priced the same for the most part. I think the mug's a little expensive, but or a little higher than like a T-shirt. But anyways, yeah. So it's Zazzle.com/GRrideshare.
Put a link on there. So.
You did? Mm-hmm. Okay. You can't click it?
What do you mean? I can click it.
Doesn't work for me.
Yeah, I think it's an operator error.
Yeah, I think so.
So is it clickable for you?
Uh-huh.
I'd put it on YouTube too then.
I did.
Okay. Did you do it in Facebook?
Yeah.
Jesper's all over it.
Thanks, Jesper.
I can't click it. It won't let me.
Producer, it's because you have an Android. Producer Jesper.
I have an Android.
I know. You're not.
I have a Chromebook.
All right, next up, we have a little fundraiser. I know Ben's going to talk about that real quick.
Yeah.
You good on that?
Sure.
All right.
Well, so everybody can see me in my little producer booth.
Ben.
We have been... Wow.
Sorry, I'm just so excited about that.
So one of the things that we've been talking about amongst the four of us is how can we come alongside rideshare drivers who may be struggling this season. We understand that for a lot of you who drive, you have a full-time job on top of rideshare driving, or perhaps rideshare driving is your full-time job and you're having a hard time making ends meet. We just want you to know that we understand those circumstances and we realize that it's a tight spot to be in. So to offer some help there, we are actually going to be taking nominations. So if you yourself or a rideshare driver that you know of is in need this holiday season, send us a Facebook message and just tell us a little bit about their story. We are going to do a drawing of sorts. We'll take nominations and share the stories that we get from the viewers. And everybody will have a part in choosing who gets the funds that are raised. So there's two ways that you can get involved in this. You can nominate yourself or somebody else. The second way to get involved is to contribute funds. We will have a fundraising site up within the next few days here. We wanted to take nominations first. So again, if you or a rideshare driver that you know of is struggling financially and just could use a little pick-me-up around the holiday season to make their season a little brighter, that's what we're aiming to do as GR Rideshare Adventures. So send a Facebook message with a nomination of yourself or somebody that you know, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, just to interject a little bit, the nomination can't be just a name. We want a little story behind it, just why, what's going on in your life. You don't have to use, real names or anything like that. We just want, why are you struggling, or why this person that you know is struggling that might need some help. So just to add that. So, all right, we're going to jump here, rideshare in the news. We got a bunch of stuff, of course, like we always do. First up is a report about the Uber self-driving debacle. I think that was about a year ago. So come to find out that Uber disabled some pretty big software things, and it was the emergency brake maneuver was disabled. They were worried that it would be too sensitive and it wouldn't know how to react to the public. Well, that's the reason the safety driver was in there, and she failed to do what she was supposed to do, and that's what happened. One of the clips from that article says, "Heartbreaking was disabled in March when Elaine Herzberg stepped into the Tempe roadway ahead of an Uber vehicle. According to the NTSB report, at 1.3 seconds before impact, the self-driving system determined that an emergency brake maneuver was needed to mitigate a collision. However, emergency brake maneuvers were not enabled. Even worse, the system is not designed to alert the safety driver about an imminent collision." So it didn't even tell the driver, even though she wasn't paying attention. It didn't even go, danger, danger, danger. Like,
right.
I mean, if she would have heard that, maybe she would have had enough time to swerve or get out of the way. But
the vehicle was never made to have an emergency driver. So why would it have a notification?
It's true.
That's the thing. I mean, the whole system failed by not having the emergency brakes turned on.
Yes.
Right. I mean, and
if you read the article, it was like one person didn't know what the other person was doing on the engineering team. So one of them shut it off. One of them said something else. I'm not going to go through the entire, but it's an interesting article. And it's really, if you read the whole thing, you would get done with it and go, this is scary S. Like, why are they, what is going on? Like, this is people's lives we're talking about. Why are you turning, like, shouldn't you guys all be on the same page before you send a car out? It's ridiculous.
Is that how you feel about it?
That's how I feel about it. It's super dangerous. I mean, I am not on board with these self-driving cars. I'm not ready for it. I'm just not ready for it.
It'll be way safer than
it will driving. Eventually, but here's the problem. How long before everyone's on board? It could be 50, 60. We'll be dead, basically. That You're going to be alive in 50 years?
It won't be 50 years.
Not to say, I'm saying where everybody is in a self-driving car.
Well, yeah, everybody maybe.
So there's still risk involved with, other drivers not being, you know what I'm saying? I get it's safer. I'm just not comfortable. I don't know why. I'm just not comfortable letting some computer drive down the road. And I'm a control freak, so that's part of it. But, yeah, I'm not ready for it. And you're ready for it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So next up, Ben, this is a video for you to play, is a Uber driver requested sex. Sex. Why does that sound like such a dirty word? Sex. You don't know.
That's on you.
It's not me. I don't think it's a dirty word, but I think there's a video, Ben. So what happened was, excuse me. There it is. There's probably an ad for sure. Just some background, and it's a short story, but the driver went to go pick somebody up, and he sent her a message saying that instead of money, he wanted sex or some sort of sexual act, and this woman was pretty upset. So we're talking about trust the leaders of fast, whatever that is. It's about done. I understand ads, but here we go. Home improvement. 10% off, guys.
The young man tells me he needed Uber for a ride to work today very early in the morning, but he had to cancel that ride after he says he got a lewd offer from the driver and then got hit with a fee. The message that Matthew Marston says he got from the Uber driver is too vulgar to read in full on TV, but it said, hey, I'll give you a free ride if let me commit a sexual act.
I was shocked. I felt uncomfortable.
Marston was trying to get to his job this morning after 3 a.m. He'd used Uber many times without a problem.
Of course, I canceled the Uber, but I was uncomfortable calling another Uber. I was thinking about calling out of work.
Even so, he didn't have an option this morning, so he did take a different Uber driver. We're not identifying the driver who made the inappropriate offer, but I called his number. Calling to talk to you about a message you sent to a potential customer.
Typical news.
Nobody answered, and it went to voicemail. Marston says he tried to reach someone from the company to report the inappropriate message, but hasn't gotten through to anyone. He says Uber did, however, charge him money for it.
It was a $5 fee. They charged me a $5 fee for canceling the Uber, and that's why I was trying to get in contact with them.
I talked to an Uber spokeswoman today, and she says the company is investigating how this happened and that they've reached out to both Marston and the driver. One thing she says they're looking at is whether someone else used that driver's account to send those messages. Reporting in South Orlando, Bob Hazen, West 2 News.
Well, so let's talk about that. First of all, how was the reporter able to contact the driver?
I swear that's just smoke and mirrors.
Well, of course it is.
Yeah, he just.
We all know that's not possible.
Yeah, and there's no way Uber gave the driver or gave him the driver's number. I mean, maybe they did, but yeah.
No, they would never do that.
And what do you think about him saying that Uber possibly said that someone else might be using it?
Well,
maybe they.
Again, how is that even possible? The driver was obviously behind the wheel online.
Well, I'm wondering if they're thinking that it was another person in his place, not him actually doing it. Like maybe he gave his phone to his buddy and his buddy was driving for him. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's why we have the facial recognition piece that comes up once in a while.
That's true. How often does that come up for you?
Well, last weekend it came out once. So.
Oh, did it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't come up very often for me. Now I'm surprised it doesn't because I don't have a beard anymore. I'll probably snap a picture and they'd be like, "Wait a minute."
Hey, naked face, what happened?
Oh, come on. I don't.
Naked mole rat.
Why do you call me? I don't look like a mole rat. Why?
Because that's just what I think of when I hear the word naked.
What is a mole rat, anyways? Ben's looking it up. No one knows. They're calling me a mole rat. No one knows. All right. This article next is about Uber drivers being sleepy.
Hey, hang on.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. You got excited. No, you're good.
No,
Oh, you disconnected?
Yeah, hang on.
Oh, technical.
There we go.
You back in?
I was just going to answer to Omar. Well, nobody can see it.
I know. No one can see it.
Oh.
Somebody share that, Ben.
We do have some feedback from a viewer who was wondering why he couldn't see the video.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna reply to. And Omar, it's because we're not allowed to show the videos in the live stream. So
Yeah, it all depends on the videos. That one might have been fine, but there's some YouTube videos we play that we can get pulled down from YouTube.
so that's why you have the screen is actually covered by our logo.
And we will post post those the week after typically. So, but that mole rat, get that thing. If you're gonna share it and get it off the screen. It's disgusting. God, that thing's ugly. Was that where is it Omar was the one that you were going to bring up? Okay.
Yeah.
So the next article is about sleeping like too much or not sleeping enough or driving too much.
Hey, I just want to share this so you guys can see it too.
Share what?
Just if in case you were worried about what a mole rat is.
Oh. Hey, is who on the YouTube? Do we have viewers on the YouTube?
We have 3. Omar is one of them.
Is Paula on there?
Nope, Paula's
Damn,
not.
Paula, where are you? I thought she was going to be another super fan. Did you share the mole rat?
What is that?
Let me know when you're done so I can move on.
Oh, there you go. I'm done.
Okay. The next article, it's from Australia. It's a landmark court ruling. And we have that here about the limits for driving, how many hours you can. So in the UPS job, there's DOT regulations, and you only can drive a certain amount, and you have to have, at least for us, we have to have 10 hours in between shifts. And it's Uber is, I think, 6 hours.
6 and 12.
hours and
6 and 12. Yeah.
So a couple of comments or quotes from it is, she's really worried that Uber and Lyft are not doing the correct thing because it only tracks when the car is moving. So if you're sitting at the airport for 2 hours, it doesn't track that. She wants it tracking that. And I agree because even though you're not driving, you're still up. And another thing she brings up, it only tracks for Uber and Lyft. What if you worked at your daytime job for 10 or 11 hours and then you go out and drive for 12 hours? It's super dangerous, but I don't know how you regulate it any more than they're doing other than saying when you sign on and when you sign off, if it's 6 hours, that counts as 6 hours. I don't care if you sat at the airport and then take a ride. Every time you log on, it counts. What do you think about that? Do you think that's too far of a reach or...
No, I think that's probably good. The other way of doing it would be, count. Well, no, that's not gonna work either.
You were like, you cut.
Well, I was gonna say,
just bring it up.
They could, they could say within 24 hours.
Okay.
They could be, rolling 24 hours. But what happens? Once you reach 12 hours within 24 hours, then you have to wait 6 hours until you can go online again.
The problem is it can't be regulated because there's 2 platforms. I mean, they don't communicate with each other, so no one would ever know how much you actually are driving.
What you could do a dongle in the car.
A dongle?
Well, one of these things you put into the port, and then the app will have to talk to that.
Well, that's an overstretch, right? We're 1099 customers, so now you
I understand, but
employees.
It's a safety though. It's the same thing about people are talking about you need to put. You need to be breathalyzers in the car, to make sure you can drive the car.
No one would ever do that to my car.
Oh, I know.
It'd be like someone knocking on my door, take away my guns. Like that's gonna be a problem. Like you're not putting that car is an extension of my home. So yeah, you're not Sorry, we're not. I did that on Threads too. I got real excited. You're not gonna put anything in my car. I'm sorry. I won't not work for you.
True. No, but I'm just saying.
Would you want somebody to put that in your car, a breathalyzer, to make sure you haven't been drinking?
I wouldn't. It wouldn't be a problem for me. No.
It wouldn't. No. You would allow it?
Oh yeah. Because I don't have anything to hide.
Would you allow it?
As a classic libertarian, hell no.
Thank you. The one last thing. We're gonna move on.
No. Stop. Why? Why do you have a problem with that?
Because that's my car and my right.
It's Big Brother watching over you.
Exactly.
Yeah, but this is one of those cases where that Big Brother is actually to everybody's good.
Big Brother is never good.
See, I disagree with that.
I mean, I disagree a little with Ben too. In the last thing in this article, it says that we believe that it needs to be enforced perhaps at a government level, which
No,
what we're talking.
I disagree with that.
Well, that's what you're talking about.
No, but it doesn't have to be. Okay, so that
Oh, how's that hole? You need a bigger shovel?
no, but here's the thing, though. No, I'm not. I'm not saying that because the apps can control it. That's the thing. Is it the companies who should go in and put those things in place, or is it something that we need to put a law in place for? Most of the laws we have in place today, they don't work anyway. So
Right.
that's not my point.
Yeah.
No, I don't care that somebody sits in a house and decide that I can't do this. That's not going to work here. What I'm saying is, it should be something that tells the vehicle you've been online for so long, and this car can no longer be online for the next 6 hours or something like that.
So you're saying the company would say, "Hey, if you're going to drive with us, you have to do this."
Yeah. And what I'm saying is, most of those devices that are already out there that fits into your, what's it called?
It's
That port?
OBD port.
Yeah, that fits in the OBD port. Already reports how much the car is
Correct.
driving. So
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, if Uber and Lyft would just put that into their platform, require you to own one of these OBD port things, whatever, they're like $50. Who cares, right? It's a cost of doing business. And then have the security towards that, then it would solve the problem.
Let me spin it a little bit. You're a part-time driver. It's no big deal to you. What if Joe Blow, who's a full-time driver, needs to make ends meet, and all of a sudden he can't do it because they've pulled him off the road?
Oh, no, wait. So what you're saying is it's okay that he's not safe?
No, I'm not saying
No, but
that.
that's essentially what you're saying, though, because I don't care that he needs to make ends meet. If the rules is he can only drive 12 hours in
Right.
24 hours, should I let him drive 13 because he needs to make the money? No.
I understand that. I do. I just feel bad for the people that, if they're out there hustling, you know what I mean? And
I get that.
Yeah.
But shouldn't you feel bad for the person that hustler...
well, what about you that you work 12 hours at your daytime job and then go out? You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
I don't think there's a right answer. I don't think Uber and Lyft will ever do that because I think everyone will be like, yeah, I'm done. I'm not going to drive for you anymore if you're going to literally know where I am at all times. Although they probably look at the phone and know where we are even if we're offline anyways. Right. They don't say that they do, but
oh, they track the data, I'm sure they do.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think we're ever going to, I don't think we're ever going to get around it, especially with two platforms. But your idea isn't horrible.
Well, thank you.
I seriously, I always thought you were talking like the government was going to make us do that.
No.
And I was like, the government's not going to do nothing.
No, I mean,
but yeah, I agree. I have driven, and I'm going to be honest, and there's times I've been super tired. And I'm like, I got to go home. This is not good.
I have too.
Yeah.
I have too. And it's just.
And we're not even driving these long hours. We're working all day, getting up at 6 in the morning and then going to bed at 3 in the morning. It's just.
Right.
Sometimes that can be a little rough. So
sure.
We'll move on from that. Any feedback at all, Ben, at all? Nope. Okay.
There's very little chatter tonight.
No? Jeez. Got to give away a gift card, I guess, huh? Next up, James Winston apparently grabbed some Uber driver's crotch. That's such a funny word, right? Crotch. It's interesting. She says, after telling BuzzFeed last year that she didn't want money, but rather felt empowered to speak out about what has happened to her after seeing other women and men tell stories about what famous individuals had done to them, she changed her mind after seeing Winston's reaction to the situation. So basically, she didn't want any money, but then saw that he wasn't acting really apologetic, so sued him for I think they settled out of court for $75,000. But I'm like, okay, you didn't want to power anything, you wanted to power your wallet. So, whatever. I mean, there's going to be actors and actresses, and it's just I think they're getting attention just because he's a football player. I don't know a lot about him, but I know he's been in the news before. He's not definitely. He's not. He's got some issues. Sure. Put it that way. So, don't grab people's crotches when you're riders and Ubers. Just saying. And if you're a driver, don't grab passengers' crotch. There's a tip for you.
Or how about? Don't grab anybody's crotch,
right.
Uber driver or not.
Just don't even grab your own crotch unless you're at home in the privacy of your own home.
Well, let's talk about personal space a little bit then.
Let's talk about crotches.
Well, that is personal space, right? So I have a rule in my car: nobody touch me.
Yeah,
right? I mean that's the thing. If anybody touches me, you're done. You're out.
No, wait a minute.
Really?
Hold
What
on.
if they tap your shoulder and say, "Hey, thanks for the ride"?
Or if she's in the I'm saying she. I
Okay,
shouldn't.
sure.
If she's in the passenger like up front and she's like, "Jesper, thanks for the great ride," puts her hand on your back, you're gonna be like, "Listen, B, we're canceling this.
Don't touch me.
Don't touch me."
Okay, that was too much. But if if anybody, I had a guy next to me at one point, and I picked up a party of 6 out in Allendale, and we were driving down, and the one guy he was already too drunk. I mean,
Yeah.
I think they were going to the woods, and the rest of the party was recognizing that he was really bothering me. I mean, I was super close to just pulling over and say, "Okay, guys, everybody out." And I was only in Standale. So they were only halfway there.
So what was he doing?
Oh, can we pause for just a second and acknowledge a really funny comment?
Crotch.
Nope.
Oh.
Justin says Jesper wouldn't mind if it was Paula that touched him.
Ah.
That is not true.
You need to tag her in the live stream. Is it possible too, Ben, that you can share? I know some people want to follow along when we talk about the articles. Could you share that in the live stream? Even though it's not clickable for you for some reason, operator error, but if you have time to do that, I just had a brain light bulb went off like, hey, they can at least click on it while they're, although we want them on our live stream. Maybe we don't want to do that.
It'll open in a new window.
That's true.
So he was just being super drunk, way
Yeah.
too drunk. And he was just, and several times, he didn't put his hand on my knee, but he was like kind of, and he
Was he trying to hit on you?
No,
or-
no, no.
Oh, okay.
He was just being inappropriate.
Yeah.
And not in a sexual way. It was just
Yeah.
it was just really annoying. And at one point, they had me pull over. They were going to get some cash out of the ATM in
Yeah.
Standale, and they actually changed places themselves. He goes, "Hey, Johnny, you're in the back."
Oh, so the group was feeling
they
uncomfortable
knew.
too.
They knew, yeah. So I forget his name. But
Apparently, Johnny gets really
they-
touchy feely.
They threw him in the back, and then somebody else sat up front, and the rest of the ride went fine.
So let's talk about: have you ever been propositioned by a rider, male or female? You haven't?
No.
Do you remember we did post that video? That guy, he was gay, and he said something on the way out, and maybe we didn't post it on our YouTube channel. Like something like, "Hey, if you're into guys and like to suck, bleep, give me a call." Like as he exited the vehicle, I'm like, "Oh, that was unexpected." I mean, I'm okay with it. Like I'm not offended by it, but I mean, no one's ever like said,
Right.
"Hey, do you want to come up?" Oh, we were gonna post that video. Oh, that's later on, isn't it? The girl that says, "I wanna." Oh, you guys suck. The one I shared last
I
night.
know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I'm
all
just
right.
trying to dig yourself out of your hole.
Shut up. Let's move on. Anyways, I just think, Ben, have you been propositioned? I mean, I'm not saying like, "Hey, let's do it," but like, "Hey, you want to come in?" Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we all have. It's not a big
Very
deal.
casually. It wasn't
Yeah.
like awkward or overt, but it was definitely odd.
I feel like we'll watch that video, and just a heads up, it is pretty raw. So it uses some words, some big words, some adult words. So I've never had something like that happen, but people have, girls or guys clearly have asked. I think it was the beard. I'm hoping not to have that issue with my mole rat face. Jerks. Next up, Ben posted this. I don't know where it came from, but we'll post that picture of it. But it says, "I had to give a PAX a 1-star because she started polishing her toenails in my car. Big no-no." I mean, the audacity of people to do that. Can you imagine? Yeah. I mean, I guess it's not that. First of all, gross. You got your shoes off in my personal car. I mean, disgusting. Feet are gross anyways. They've been sweaty all day. She's doing her nails. Nail polish doesn't come out of anything. Carpet, fabric, whatever. Have you guys ever had something like that where it's just like, dude, what are you doing?
No.
No?
I had that one couple once that I picked up downtown and
Yeah.
dropped off in Allendale. And they were doing something I would not love
Right.
to say on.
Well, you would love it, but just if you were at home with your wife, not in the back of an Uber.
Well, yeah. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've never really had that happen. I know Nick has. I know Kevin has before, but I mean, that can't be allowed to happen.
I had a very, very odd thing happen in my car.
Charlie
one time.
bite my finger?
Yeah.
Yes, I guessed it.
Oh my goodness.
Charlie bit my finger.
That was so.
That was bizarre.
That
Say
was
it.
very bad.
You can use the bizarre because
Yes.
that's his crutch word. But
There
it was
is not
bizarre.
a better word for this story. So I was driving a mom and a dad and their 10 or 11-year-old son home from a house party. And no joke, on the way home from the house party, the dad is in the back seat with the son. Dad somehow ends up with the son's fingers in his mouth.
Wasn't he laying on the son?
Yes.
Like on his lap?
He was reclining, laying on the son's lap, and then the son's fingers somehow ended up in his mouth, and he bit him. And all of a sudden I hear in the back seat, "Dad, you bit me." It's like,
How
what
awkward is that?
is going on in my car?
Were
It
you
was
like
horrible?
Did your adrenaline kind of go up and go?
Oh,
what do we got
absolutely.
going on
It's
in
like,
here?
What just happened?
That's so weird.
it was
Well, there's
very
so many
weird.
things wrong with that. It was late at night. Your 8-year-old's out at a house party, and I think it was like wasn't a nice home. Like it was a.
Yes, it was. It was East Grand Rapids, which is like a highfalutin neighborhood.
Yeah.
So-
That's so weird.
Yeah.
I've been around my kids when I've had too much to drink, but I've never laid on my kid's lap and then bit their finger. All right, moving on. Sorry, I was looking at a picture and underneath the picture of the polished nail, and it's like recommendations for seasoned wood delivery. I'm like, what does this have to do with rideshare driving?
All right, I have to interrupt one more time.
Okay.
I did get some feedback about Jesper, actually.
Oh.
It's all good, though. Don't worry. So Tom says, Jesper, I would like to give you a high five, sir. You have so much to offer as far as logic, smarts, and intellect.
Oh my gosh.
Listening to you
It's a
in
plant.
these podcasts and your sane answers to questions, taking the time to work it out and not just shrug it off, as well as talking to you outside of the pods in the past. Top
Oh.
shelf, sir. Top
Tom
shelf.
Fawcett.
Is it Tom Fawcett?
It is.
Oh, you know Tom. That's.
Of
I was
course.
like, all right. I thought it was gonna be Tom McQueen,
Coach Fawcett.
Coach Fawcett. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom McQueen from East Lansing. I thought that was gonna be him too, but I can't believe it.
Thank you, Tom.
Jeez, Tom. Jeez. So it is a plant. All right. This is kind of short, but it's kind of funny. It's Martha Stewart. Apparently, she's like 75. I actually kind of hate Martha Stewart because she went to prison. Like Megan said something about some like recipe or something. Like a Martha Stewart, I'm like, don't use her recipes. You know she went to federal prison, right? And she's like, I don't care. I'm like, whatever.
But it was fraud, right?
Yeah, she misled the. It's something with insider trading. I think it was like she let someone know that something was going to bomb or something. I don't know. So Martha Stewart liver domestic diva details harrowing Uber trip after she ordered the most expensive car and had her first driver canceled and was forced to travel in a messy vehicle. Now, the pictures that I'm seeing here, the car is disgusting. I mean, it's not like vomit in it, but there's like goldfish crack. I mean, clearly they have kids, but I mean, it was super gross. She said that the car was a mess. She's 77. And the domestic diva, 77, then spent an hour making her way to her destination, but the car was facing the wrong way, she said on her Instagram. I don't know. But she said she ordered the most expensive one, but there's no way. I mean, so this was New York. I mean, that's like Uber Black. There's no way this was an Uber Black. I would like to know exactly what she ordered. My guess is she thought she ordered the most expensive one because she's cheap, and it was the Uber X.
Uber X, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, these pictures, I mean, it's pretty bad. So I always recommend if you're in a city, a bigger city, and you're kind of worried about that, order the next one up, like a Uber Select. I mean, yeah, it doesn't mean you're not going to get a bad car, but your chances are much less that you're going to get a more cleaner car and a nicer car, and it's not too much more expensive. I mean, it is, but it's a little bit more. But when we go to Detroit, we typically do Uber Select or Lyft. What is it? Lyft Premier.
Okay.
Something like that. I don't know. Nick's the only one that's Lyft Premier. Is he like only one Lyft Premier out of all of us guys for that?
Yeah, I'm not
GM fanboy. Lyft, because Lyft invested all that money, or GM invested all that money in Lyft. We shouldn't talk
I
about.
drive a GM.
Huh? You're. Oh, whoa! Oh no, Ben.
I'm good.
Are you okay?
I'm okay.
You're mic number 4.
I am.
Okay. Do you want
I
me
just
to
had a
put?
sudden cough spell.
Do you want me? That was the weirdest cough ever. I didn't know if you were gonna sneeze or cough.
Or puke?
Oh.
No.
Yeah, I know you drive a Chevy, but why isn't your car a Premier?
I have no
That's
idea.
the weirdest thing. Like Nick's is, and there's nothing wrong with the car. It's a nice car, but it's cloth. It doesn't even have leather, and he never says that he gets a lot of Lyft Premiers, although he doesn't run a lot of Lyft anyways. But,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Don't worry, I didn't die back here.
Good night, man.
He doesn't drive much, period.
Yeah. Part time.
You're welcome, Nick.
All right, next up, Ben posted this about Lyft, and I'm interested about number. So it says now passengers can tip from the moment the ride begins, or automatically after every trip. So are you saying, or not you saying, is Lyft saying you can set up an automatic tip?
Yes.
That is awesome. So you can be like, I want to tip $3 every time.
Every ride, $3.
Oh, I thought that's what that meant. I'm actually super excited about that. I mean, because people like easy peasy, right? If they want to tip, I would definitely do that. Although I probably wouldn't, because I want to base it on the driver. Because I've had some terrible Lyft drivers, and I'm like, I'm not tipping you anything. And I've also had some great ones that I've tipped $10. So,
Right.
But this is huge, though. If people set it up, it's huge.
What do you guys think about the automatic 5 stars?
Why? I mean, as humans, we're so obsessed with ratings, right? We want acceptance. We want to know that we're doing a good job, but they mean absolutely nothing. I mean, as long as you're in the 4.8 and above, or 4.7 and above. But why as humans do we want that? Like, it doesn't mean anything.
Right. I think the way the Uber system works right now, and Lyft system per se, is a better system because it's not just automatically adding a rating. Mm-hmm. I mean, if it's gonna start automatically give you 5 stars unless you say otherwise, then that's gonna skew the rating system.
That's true. That's a good point, because people, again, we talk about people being lazy. They want it automatic.
Right.
Well, if they're just going to give 5 stars every time, they're not going to do anything.
Correct.
I think it should force them to rate or ask for a tip first before they ask to rate, then rate before they request another ride. That's the key. You can't let them request another ride until they do those 2 steps, personally.
I think they have to choose. They have to make a choice about the tip before they can finish the ride.
Yeah.
And there should be an option for no tip and tip. It shouldn't be I need to click on this if I want a tip.
Right. Well, I know Uber makes it more difficult. Lyft is a little bit more streamlined. But back to the ratings thing. Now, with this new Uber Rewards, the ratings do matter, right? That has to do with your Gold, Premier, or whatever, a certain rating. Is that true? I can't quite remember, but
I believe so. But there's also that whole thing ties into how many rides you accept and all that stuff too, right?
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. I'm not going to really worry about it or even think about it until it comes here. I want to see if it's even doable as a part-time. Like maybe for 1 month, I'll accept every Uber ride just to see how quickly I can.
When do we even think it's going to come here?
I don't know. They talk about stuff all the time, and then it may just pewter out. I mean, maybe they testing it, they said 10 cities or something like that, and maybe it'll just die out. Like the whole beacon thing. Weren't we supposed to get like this beacon, just like kind of Lyft amp?
But not everything works in every market either. That's the thing.
Right. I mean, that's true. You're right. If you go to a market that most of the drivers are part-time, it might not work very well.
Well, let's face it. Uber doesn't really have a problem in the Grand Rapids market.
Gosh, when's the last time you've seen? You look at the national groups and they talk about the quests and all those bonuses. Like you do 10 rides, you get. It's been at least 6 months and we've seen like a boost of like 1.3.
I know.
I mean, I just think Grand Rapids is a hardworking town and people are out there hustling. So there's a lot of Uber drivers. I mean, I could be wrong,
There's
but
way too many.
Well, there's too many.
What they should do, they should cap the market. That's what they should. They would make more money if they would cap the market.
I actually disagree because their goal is to get everyone to ride as quick as possible.
Sure.
I understand what you're saying. By charging a surge, they're going to make more money. But I feel like if they do that, and if the other platform doesn't do that, then they're just going to go to Lyft. You know what I mean? Their number one goal is to get as many people in a car as possible. So the more drivers they have, the better. As a business, you're saying you wouldn't do that if you own the business, you would cap it. Yeah,
I mean,
think
I don't
of it
know,
as a business owner.
I don't know the numbers, right? So
Right.
I don't see.
We'll
I
make
don't
them
see
up.
it, but right. So my guess is I would definitely seriously look at capping the market. What would it feel like?
You think that you would do that as a business owner?
Well, I would definitely want to look at the numbers.
Right. Well, for the
My guess is, I see what you're saying. My guess is that if they were to cap it, not all the time, but if they were to cap it on, say, bar nights or whatever weekend, my guess is they would make more money.
Okay, so specific times.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. No, I agree. If you were going to cap it from like 9P to 3A, yeah, they would make, I don't know. It's a good thought. But as a driver, of course we want them to cap it, and we don't want to be outside the cap.
Well, yeah.
Because we'll make more money, but will Uber in the long run make more money? I don't think so. I think them putting as many people in the car as they can is how they're going to make more money.
Well, then what they should do then, instead of capping them, they should increase their regulation with the cars. There's too many.
You're right. That's a good point. And I was
death traps out there.
Yeah. Well, I was super excited about when they started doing inspections. I thought, oh, this is going to clean some out. But then you see some of them on the road. You're like, how in the hell did that make clear inspection? Maybe their buddy's a mechanic. Maybe they just fibbed it. I don't know. I agree. As much as I hate regulation and people being involved in that, I agree. I think it needs to be stricter because I work hard to keep my vehicle maintained. I mean, if it's smash, I mean, I'm not so worried about the body damage. I mean, I'm worried about the mechanical. If your car is beat up on the outside, what are you doing on the inside to keep it maintained?
So now we're back to that whole device again, right? Because that thing can report errors as well.
Yeah.
And the ODB, whatever.
Okay. Sorry. Just looking at a note. No, I agree. It definitely, I agree with some regulations there. I think it definitely needs to be. What are you laughing at?
Well, nothing.
All right. We're going to move on. We are going to move into tip time, and we have a sponsor. Our sponsor is from Van True Camera, and Ben's got a little ad, and it's going to talk about that right now.
So we were talking about some of the crazy things that have happened in our rideshare vehicles, including, but not limited to, fathers sticking their sons' fingers in their mouths and biting them.
That's so gross.
Yeah, very gross. But it is so important to have a dash cam. This is a device that will save you from litigation should a rider claim that you did something illegal, or a rider is claiming that you took the wrong route, or whatever the case may be. This is one of those cover your ass, everybody should have this tools. So you can see a picture of it on our screen. I will go ahead and put a link in the chat. The Van True N2 Pro is the best camera for the money. It has night vision so that you can see what's happening inside the car as you're driving. It's got a rear-facing camera for in-cabin and a front-facing camera for the road. It keeps you safe. And let's be honest, it's really fun to look back at the videos at the end of the night and share and laugh and have a lot of fun with it as well. So Van True N2 Pro, there's a link on Amazon that I will post in the chat link. If you use that link when you buy it, some of your purchase will go to support the efforts of Rideshare Adventures.
Absolutely. And real quick, there was some chatter about this camera, and it now does support up to a 256 gigabyte SD card. They actually recommend the Samsung Evo card, which I think we got for ours. Before it wouldn't, they wouldn't support it, but it still worked. But I was just looking at some of the statistics on it. So, and you also can get a GPS function on it too. It's an extra, I don't know, it's in the mount, right? It's an extra like $15, but So go ahead. Sorry.
They have recently been updating the mounts as well, so they're really well.
You know, their customer service is top notch. They sent us free mounts when they updated them, like no cost. I was in a hurry.
Free.
Huh?
Hence free.
Right. Well, I was in a hurry and I ordered mine because it was like $5, and I'm like, I want it because I was having trouble with mine. And then Ben's like, oh, by the way, Van True's giving these away for free. I'm like, damn it, I just wasted $5. So the tip of the day is if you're having issues finding your pickup address, type the address into Google to see if there is a picture of the home or business. It seems simple, but sometimes when you're driving, the GPS might be off a little bit. And this is more for deliveries because, I mean, I don't know for you as when you're picking up. I just kind of go near the pin. I don't ever look for an address. Do you guys do that? Do you look for the address, or you just kind of go to the pin and just park it?
Well, I'll go to the pin, but then I'll look for the house number.
I don't ever. Unless I'm not seeing them right away, I don't ever look at the house number. Obviously, for deliveries, you have to. So with Google, they have a great street view and everything. You see the house, and so you have a visual of exactly what to look for. It comes in handy when you have multiple business or homes close together. You know, I've actually used this for a little bit with UPS. Obviously, not when I'm driving, but if I have a question and they don't have an address, I mean, I want to make sure I'm delivering the correct package or the correct food. So, did you have anything else about that?
I was just gonna say it would be nice for the passengers as well if they would make sure that the house numbers is well lit at night.
Oh, please! That is such a nightmare when you're delivering food.
Or delivering people.
Did you just have another cough?
I did.
Oh my gosh!
I started a new medicine, and one of the side effects is a dry cough.
Is it really?
Bear with me, apparently. My goodness. I opened my mouth to talk, and I can't.
He went.
I choked. I literally choked. Just get a spotlight.
Yes.
Shine that.
You're right.
That'll teach a passenger to lighten up their numbers a little bit.
I know. I mean,
see a spotlight shining in their window.
Yeah, just don't do it on the south side of Chicago or Grand Rapids. But like I said, when I'm taking passengers or picking them up, I don't ever look for. I mean, I guess I'll kind of look for it, but I actually just drive to the pin and park it. So that's just me. But if you're doing food delivery or any kind of delivery, it's good to have that. So, all right, we're going to go to questions from our Facebook group. We had a couple of them that I asked for anybody that had questions, so we're going to jump right into that. This James Florezano had some questions on the new changes on long trip and short trip getting compensated will benefit us. I didn't really know what that was about, and I don't think it's in our market. He had showed me a screenshot of that, but so I can't help you, James, on that. I don't know what the new compensation is. Each market is completely different, like we talked about earlier. You get quests in a lot of markets. Even in this market, I know there's a driver on our Grand Rapids page that does Lyft. He had all these bonuses. I'm like, I haven't seen any of that either.
For Lyft, it's very much driver to driver.
Right. Do you think because he's like a super Lyft driver? I mean, he already, in 3 months, he hit his 1K ride. So he's clearly doing a ton of Lyft.
Right.
So you think that's why they gave him the bonus?
Well, either that or it's because he's still a fairly new driver.
That's true, too. I mean, you would think they would give the bonus to try to take us over to the dark side, right? I mean, that's the whole point of throwing the bonus out. I'm like...
Yeah.
But the problem is when they do that, when Lyft actually does, everyone else does it too, so then you can't hit the numbers anyways.
Right.
So it's like a catch-22. But next question, this one's a good one. I'm sure it's been discussed before, but being new to all this independent contractor type work, and I'm sorry, I don't know who this is from, I apologize. Contractor work type work for me. What concerns me is trying to save receipts and that kind of stuff for tax time. I really have a hard time understanding it all anyway. Is there an app or anything, any tips or tricks on not having to pay so much of the little we earn? I'm only on Amazon Flex so far. My Lyft app and Lyft, I'm sure. Oh, my Lyft app is near completion, which I think I know who this guy is. He's in a Grand Rapids group, and I think he just got approved. Then if you add Uber on top of it, it seems like keeping gas receipts separated out would be a nightmare.
So I don't do any of that. I don't keep any of the receipts. I just do the mileage.
Right.
So on tax-wise, you get to do one or the other. You don't get to do both. So And I think if you talk to a tax accountant, and we're still hoping to get somebody in here for that. But if you talk to a tax accountant, and he will say the same thing, right? You can either choose to keep every single receipt and subtract the actual, or you get to subtract 54 cents a mile,
right?
Which is the federal subtraction. And in most cases, the 54 cents a mile will be the better deal for you. So get a program that will track your miles. Obviously, Uber and Lyft will track the miles, but they'll only track the miles that is. And for Uber, it is period 2 and 3.
Right. So driving to a passenger and then during the ride.
Right. So not whatever time you're driving around looking for a ride, and then Lyft, I think, tracks
just the ride.
Okay, I forget.
Yeah, just to let you know, for the new people, the second you leave your house, that starts the mileage, and when you come home, that starts the mileage.
Right.
I mean, obviously, use the honor system. Don't abuse it. If you turn in a ton, if you make $6,000 one year and turn in 50,000 miles, that's going to be a red flag. But I will let you know that I don't think I've ever paid taxes on my Uber earnings or my 1099 earnings because of the mileage. And most accountants will tell you, like Jesper said, it's better to do the mileage. Because remember, when you're saving receipts, let's say for your cell phone, you didn't get to claim the whole bill. I mean, because you use your cell phone in your personal life too, unless you have a phone specific for rideshare.
Remember that. The rideshare phone, you still get to subtract part of that as a data plan. So,
right, if you're going to do the receipt end.
No. The phone you can do anyways, because that's a utility. It has nothing to do with your car. So you should take part of that phone bill. You can use that.
Oh, you're right. Jesper is right. I apologize. My phone is through my work, my other work, so I can't do that. You're right.
Yeah, so this is a work tool. You cannot use Uber or Lyft without the phone.
Right.
So what you can do is, if you look at percentage-wise, how much do you use the phone as compared to how much you use a personal business, you can take that percentage and subtract that, and you can then use that as a business expense. But you'll have how much you're paying every month. So
yeah, I forgot about that. I know my accountant lets me do car washes, but some of them say it's kind of a gray area.
Another gray area, when you are doing, anytime you are 1099, technically you can also claim part of your house as a home office.
Yeah.
So, but these are all questions that are much better answered with your tax accountant. So get with him. I mean, I started doing, the first couple of years I did my own taxes.
Yeah.
And then probably 10 years ago, I started using a tax accountant, and I got to tell you, it's more than once paid for the cost that I paid for that person to do it every year. I mean, the first year I did it, I thought I was going to pay $800. She did my taxes. Great gal. She's been doing my taxes ever since. I got $2,000 back. I mean, it was well worth it.
Right. And also with that is like, now I have, let's see, let me list them off. Grubhub,
right?
DoorDash, Uber, Lyft, Amazon Flex. Am I missing one?
UPS.
Well, yeah, UPS, my other job. So I'm up to 7 things. Do you really want to mess around with that, or are you just going to give it to a professional? And I think I paid $250 for my family's taxes and all that. So, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, that's not that expensive.
No. I think if you look around, I think you can get it for, generally it's $100, $150 per return.
Yeah.
And so in our market, you have to pay, we file 3, possibly 4, with, depending on if you're working in the same city you're living in. Because if, I live in Walker, work in Grand Rapids, so I have to file 2 returns.
Yeah, you have to pay Walker and Grand Rapids, right?
I pay half. I pay half a residency tax, and it's stupid.
It's so Well, Megan pays the Grand Rapids tax because she works in the city.
Right.
But it's typically we get like $4 back every.
Again,
it's ridiculous.
So yep. So that's that's that. Yeah. And again, yeah, I can't underline enough. Get an accountant to help you with this. It's just so much easier.
Yeah. Bottom line is 9 times out of 10, it's going to be better to take the mileage. So I wouldn't worry about the receipts. I mean, you can actually claim your meal receipts too, but it's only a certain portion. To me, I haven't had to pay any taxes, so I'm going to stick the way. I'm not going to worry about the meals and the cell phone. I mean, you can, but I mean, it's probably not going to move the needle too much. So just make it less complicated. We use Sherpa Share, and there is a link for that. Okay. All right. Next up, we're gonna do new driver question real quick, and we'll just spend a short time on that. Are we supposed to accommodate for groceries? So he's got a Honda Civic, and they had 2 adults and a young child and a baby and a baby seat. On top of that, they had 2 carts of groceries. My trunk has some belongings in it. I didn't even think about picking someone up from shopping. Does this happen to you guys a lot? They clearly need an XL.
I've done it twice.
Yeah, I've done it a few times. I typically avoid that if I know where the ping comes up and I'm like, ooh, that's Costco. Unless they order an XL. If they order an XL, I'll go because I'm going to make more on that ride. But yeah, I try to avoid those at all costs because some people do abuse. And then you're like, okay, do I help them unload them? Like, you're not getting paid for that. I mean, I typically will unload from my back to the sidewalk, but that's the extent of it. So.
Right.
Yeah, I would try to avoid that if you can, but yeah, people take advantage of it. They're not going to order an XL,
Right.
So
I've had somebody order an XL because it was technically to be used as a moving vehicle. I was like, that was a little bit.
what?
Well, I wasn't. They just filled up my car with all kinds of junk. It was
Really?
just ridiculous.
I had one over the weekend that it was a laundromat, which it was an XL, so that's why I took it. And it was like 5 big bags of laundry in trash bags, and I'm like, I asked them, I'm like, this is not trash, right? Because if it's trash, I'm just going to cancel the ride. I don't want that in my car. And they're like, no, it's laundry. So, I mean, sometimes you get that people.
Oh, and that's fine.
Yeah.
You know.
So we're going to jump into the do's and don'ts of rideshare. So Tom, your fanboy, suggested this. Like if someone was going to get into rideshare driving,
Right.
you know, what would we do? How are we doing on time, Ben? Do you know? Sorry, you can look at it. I was just curious. The do's and don'ts of rideshare driving. So this is kind of from GRrideshare adventures on what we would recommend on the do's and don'ts. So why don't you take the do's and then I'll take the don'ts. And then we can, you can talk about, your story behind each one of them if you have one.
I was trying to find my.
I'm sorry. I'll do you. It's in the Google Drive. I'll do the do's since
I don't have the don'ts.
Okay. Well, I'll do it then. So I put in 6 things for each. There is a ton more, and Jesper is going to write a blog article about
there
that.
it is. Yep.
So you good?
Yep.
You want to do the do's?
Sure.
Do the do's, bro.
So the do's. Take your first ride during the day. Get familiar with the city in the daytime. And that's definitely an important thing. I mean, I learned so much the first 3 months I was driving. And, you get to learn where all the dive bars are and all the little things and stuff like that. But it is definitely, it's different to drive during the day than the night. And if you have I have a visual map in my head. That's kind of how I work. And if you have an idea of how these things, how they are and how the roads fit together, it's just so much easier for you at night.
Yeah, it's like you're 50% worse on nighttime doing the knowing where to go. Yes, you got GPS, but it's good to know those areas. So
the other thing that kind of helped me, particularly downtown Grand Rapids, it's getting better, but there's some areas that are really weird GPS wise.
Yes, yeah.
And so once you get to know those, and it's like, oh, the ping is there. Yeah, no, they're at the Bob.
Well, a lot of times too, at least on the west side of the city, by us, there's a lot of alleys, and it'll put the pin in the alley. Well, do not go down that alley.
No.
Go to where it is.
Yep.
So I actually, Nick put for your first ride, I would say your first couple of shifts you should drive during the day. Yeah, you're not going to make the money as you will at night, but
it's good to get to know and kind of learn that. So then number 2 is take a ride as a passenger. Get to know what the experience is from their side of you.
Right.
It's to get to know the app. You get a lot of questions for how do I do this in the app? How do I do that in the app?
Yep.
And if you haven't done the ride as a passenger, you don't know.
And that also too, you can pick the brain of the driver. And say, what do you like about driving? I know that's the question, or what's your favorite app, or
right.
So, but yeah, take a couple of rides as a passenger before you get out.
Right. And number 3 is research your city. What is it known for? What major companies are in your city? We talked about a couple of weeks ago. We talked about the what's it called again? The TA, the
Oh,
the program for
Experience GR. We
Thank
still
you.
that's coming out like
Yeah.
in the next couple weeks. Gosh, dang
Yeah,
it! Now
the-
you got me saying, oh my gosh! Anyway,
I forget. So there's
you
this
remember
program.
Ben for
the-
Experience GR? You gonna
Yeah.
cough?
I can't remember.
Yeah,
Ah,
so
we're
there's this
terrible.
program where you really you get to know the city, you
Yeah.
get to know everything that's going on.
Certified something or other.
Oh, CTA, Certified
Certified.
Tourism Ambassador,
There you go.
Certified.
which I am, by the
Tourism,
way.
the CTA ambassador. Yeah. Well,
Don't
did
you
get a
wish
hat?
you were?
Did you get a hat?
No, I got a pin.
Oh, you got a pen.
You're gonna wear the
Okay.
pin when you go driving.
Well, the problem is no one can see it. I don't know. Should I make a laminated?
Put a spotlight on it.
Yes, yes. Good idea.
So just get to know it and figure out what's going on. I mean, it's always good to know where the big venues are. It's always kind of good to know what's going on and that kind of stuff. So you'll get to learn. You'll learn those things the first couple of months, but it's a good thing to know up front.
One of our rideshare buddies, Gabe, who does it full time, he spends about 2 hours a week researching events and
Right.
stuff, and that's how he maximizes his earnings, which is important. I mean, if you don't know what's going on, how can you maximize your earnings?
I have more than once gotten a nice tip after being able to tell a lot of information in the car.
Well, and that's the thing with the CTA, and we're gonna talk about that in the future. And they're gonna offer a CTA program, which is like it sounds like a lot, but it's a great class. It's about 4 hours for a discounted price. And I'm telling you what, with being a CTA, your tips are increased if you can tell people about this, what's going on, or like. They're like, what's there to do? And you can say, all right, well, what do you like to eat? And you can talk about these restaurants and et cetera. So
Use common sense. If something seems off, it probably is. If you're uncomfortable before the ride even begins, just cancel it. And I think that's the biggest thing. Remember, this is your car, guys. This is your personal vehicle. Nobody is going to, well, if they will, it doesn't matter. They won't matter. Their opinion don't matter. But if they get mad because you do something you're not comfortable with, so be it. That too bad. Tough luck. Just don't let anybody do anything that I was going to say disrespect you, but
no, that's right.
Just use common sense.
And here's a pro tip with that. And Jesper struggles with this sometimes. If the group is already pissed, cancel the ride. Because if you really worry about ratings, if you decide, I know Jesper had a group that they split up and took one group, and they ended up giving them a 1 cent tip and a 1 star.
Thank you so much, by the way.
Yeah, thanks for that 1 cent. Yeah, if it's going to be a problem, they were trying to cram more in, just cancel. And Ben had one the other day where he just, you know what? He's like, we're done. And it was, he is getting some hate on YouTube. We did put it on YouTube, and because they're kind of jerks, and they're kind of jerks. But he did get some hate on that, and you know what? He did the right thing.
Right.
You're going to get a 1 star. If you worry about your rating, just cancel and move on.
Yep. That brings up number 5. Acceptance rate has no impact on anything. Do not worry about ignoring ride requests. The only thing that has impact on is cancellation rating. So yeah, don't
Go ahead.
So try not to cancel too many rides once you accept it.
Yeah.
But don't worry about acceptance rate at all.
Yeah, it used to be basically the rideshare companies got sued. I think it was Uber, say, hey, we're independent contractors. So that's the one mistake I think a lot of newbies have. They feel they have to accept everything.
Right.
Personally, I don't take anything more than 8 minutes on an X and nothing more than 10 minutes on an XL.
So these numbers will differ from market to market.
True.
Okay, they definitely will. But in Grand Rapids, what seemed to work well is X. Say it again, Jason.
X is 8 minutes and XL is 10 minutes.
Okay.
Now I've obviously done, and Surge throws everything out the window. So if it's a 2.0 Surge, I might go 10 minutes on it.
What that means, that's the longest we will drive to pick them up.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what that means. So,
and don't be tempted by the premium pickup.
No.
That's a joke.
Yeah.
It's pennies. So if it says like premium pickup likely, you're going to make like $1.
but have you noticed too that they have two different words? So the premium pickup likely,
possible or something.
Yeah, and it's like
so
sometimes you don't get it.
Yeah, is it like a flip of the coin? Like what
who decides whether I'm going to get it?
Yeah. So, again, it's probably somebody like the Uber,
Right.
The barf guy at Uber that has to look at the videos or look at all the barf pictures. Decides probably the same thing. I like that guy. I'll get him the premium pickup.
And then the final thing is do not chase the surge. Unless there's a major event or concert, it's just a ploy to get the drivers into a certain area. We often talk about fake surge.
Fake surge.
Right? You know, and whether or not it's a fake surge or it's the fact that you entered the market and now the surge is gone. I mean, the way surges works is on that given time, if there's more if there's more riders than there's drivers in that area, the surge will go up. It's supply and demand.
Right, but it's just because they have the app open. It's not requested rides.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. And yeah. It's never worth it to chase the surge. It's just never.
All right, I'm going to jump into the don'ts, which Jesper kind of touched on. Number 1, don't let people walk all over you. It's your vehicle. Know the rules and the laws of the road. I don't run into much because I can take 7, but Jesper and Ben run into, hey, I have 7. Can we cram 1 more in? No, You're not cramming 1 more in. I can take 6. That's what I said. And if they give you grief, say, okay, I'm canceling. Right. And they're gonna be pissed at you, but do you really want to have that uncomfortable ride and with those people? And it's your car. Hey, can I vape in here? No, you may not.
Right.
If you allow it, then great. Can I allow people to? It's kind of awkward at bar close when people bring in food. Like, do you really want to tell them you can't eat it? I mean, I have a hard time saying no. I don't know what your guys' rule are.
I let people eat in my car. I don't care. Just don't make a mess.
Right. And if you do make a mess, you're getting a cleaning fee. Sorry, it's my car.
Unless, I mean, I had one time there was 2 pieces of pepperoni right on the floor.
No.
I threw them out.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. But the last one, I did get a $25. I thought it was barf. Remember, I swear I smelled barf. I think he swallowed it. But whatever it was, he was just like mowing. Like, I think there were Lunchables.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because there was like a little bit of cheese and crackers all over the floor in the seat. I'm like, yeah, you're getting a cleaning fee because I have to go offline. I had to vacuum it up. If I just have to brush it out, I'm not going to charge a cleaning fee. All right, number 2, and I am guilty of this, and it ruins your night.
Oh, me too.
Do not drive if you're in a bad mood. I promise it'll affect your tips and rating. If you are not in the mood to deal with drunks, just don't deal with drunks. I guarantee someone will piss you off. You are the sober person at a party every single time someone gets in your car. So if you're in a bad mood, don't do it.
Keep the mood light in your car.
Yes.
Right. I mean, I had 2 weeks. I think 2 weekends ago. I remember I said I got that one negative. Somebody stated that the what was it, like the voice in the car, whatever, could be better, or I don't know.
Or the conversation.
Conversation could be more professional. I don't know what it was.
That's what it was.
And I think I just had a couple hours where I was just mad of the whole thing, and yeah, it's just it'll affect. So keep the mood light, keep it nice, keep some music going, and yeah.
Next up, do not do gerbils. Do not do airport trips unless you have no plans in the near future. Sometimes you get extremely long trips. That being said, they notify you. So you.
Well, do they?
They do.
Well, yeah, but we've also seen that the long trip notification is not always accurate in Grand Rapids.
Well, don't ask me. What's that, Ben?
It worked for me on that Lake City ride.
Well, sure, but the weekend before, Jason had 3 rides, and none of them had any long trip notification.
There was some time where it was not working very well.
There was.
But don't ask me for last weekend because I got 0 long trip notifications, and I got 0 long trips.
It's because you didn't speak to the universe.
I didn't. You did that night too. That's right.
I was making fun of somebody.
Oh no! He was saying. He said to me, "Hey, I just got a 60 plus XL at the airport." I'm like, "Oh." He's like, "No, I'm just kidding. I'm just trying to talk to the universe." And what was it? 10 minutes later, you got that Lake City trip. I could not believe it. I'm like, that's karma. That's like thinking positively, and it's going to get you.
Well, we were talking about a certain somebody that we both know, and she's kind of into that whole just speak to the universe and make things what you want them to be. I was joking, and next thing I know, I got one.
So do you really want to joke now about that?
I don't know.
Yeah, we always tease each other.
So let's talk about long rides real quick.
Go ahead.
I didn't want to break off, but what is the magic limit? Because we all know that a ride to Chicago sucks, right?
That's a good conversation.
That is not going to be worth it at all. What's the magic limit?
I think it's an hour. I think
it's 2.
2 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
2 hours back and forth, so it'll be a 4-hour total. So like a trip where you did, Ben.
You got it. everyone says, "Oh, you got all that deadhead," which you do. If you don't get a tip, it's not worth it. But you got to remember, you're probably still making more per hour.
Right.
You're getting highway gas mileage. So I think the long trips are good, but there is a breaking point. I think it's an hour, but you say it's 2 hours. I mean, an hour.
I would not do Chicago anymore. I can tell you that.
Well, yeah.
Unless it's an XL and a double search.
Right. Well, and depending on what city you're going to, like you say Chicago, do I really want to drive into inner city Chicago and get there at 2 a.m. or whatever it is? No. But if I'm driving to LaPorte, Indiana, don't know if that's a real city.
Driving home for Chicago, that was pretty scary.
Driving home from Chicago? Yeah.
I had to go to the bathroom and I couldn't get off the highway.
Oh, man. Yeah. There's some areas in Chicago you don't want to get off the exit.
No.
You just make it to the border.
LaPorte, Indiana is a real place.
All right. Thank you. I'm awesome.
It's where Andy, my wife and I went on a little weekend
date
getaway.
Maybe that's why it popped into
There
my
you
head.
go.
That's funny. So yeah, the airport notification will let you know. What I think is funny about that, there's a 45-minute and a 60. And the 60 could be 4 hours. I'm
Right.
like, I don't get that. Can you just, I mean, maybe
Can we do a 120? I mean,
yeah. Can we break this up a little bit? I mean, you created the code for 2. Can we do 3?
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. Next up, if someone is extremely intoxicated, these are don'ts, by the way. Before you pick them up, just cancel the ride.
Unless you want the cleaning fee.
Well, you're weird like that. You want to clean up puke, which is so disgusting.
I don't want. I mean, it's not that I want to.
You can keep your money. I don't want to clean up puke. I mean, I just spit. Speaking of puke, if it happens, great. But I'm not going to be like, "Ooh, he looks really drunk. Let's get a puker."
Get in the car.
Right. I'm sure there's people like that though.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
I have canceled maybe 3 where I've pulled up and they're stumbling and falling towards my car. I ask them their name and I'm like, and they confirm. I'm like, okay, man, roll it up and cancel. I mean, there's not just puke issues. There's could be a ton of things. Inappropriate touching. Ben had a really angry kid he brought to Fenville that was kind of not violent, but it could have got violent. I mean, alcohol affects people differently. I have good time, funny, laugh, but some people, I know people that they drink whiskey and they want to fight. So
Right.
just, you have the right to cancel basically anybody
sure.
you want. It's your car. 5, don't let things people say in your vehicle affect you. When people drink, they say anything and everything. Right. Your little filter goes away. I mean, I don't allow people to be racist. Or, being a bigot. I'm just like, guys, hey, let's cool it. It doesn't happen very often, but, and then number 6, stay away from sensitive topics when talking with passengers. Don't talk politics,
Politics don't.
religion, those kind of things. I mean, I have had longer rides where I can kind of see where they're leaning, and if they keep talking about it, I might go into it. But if someone says, "Oh, I just hate Trump," or "I hate Hillary," or "I hate the Democrats," or whatever, I just agree with them. I'd be like, "Oh yeah, I know, right?" I know it seems dumb, but do you really want to have this awkward conversation about politics, especially if they're leaning way the other way? You're definitely not going to get a tip.
No.
I mean, so. All right, I think we're wrapping it up here. I just kind of want to go back to, our rideshare store. It's Zazzle.com/GRrideshare, Zazzle.com/GRrideshare. Of course, our iTunes. We are giving away some free swag if you do submit, subscribe, review, all that fun stuff. You have to share it with us, too. So, Benjamin, anything else you want to add? Do we have any other comments or anything? He told me to land the plane. Land the plane.
We are landing the plane. Just wanted to throw a reminder out there about our Christmas fundraiser of sorts. And we're totally serious about this. If you, as a rideshare driver, are struggling paying the bills this season, or you just got a lot on your plate and you could just use a little pick-me-up, we want to help with that. So if you or somebody you know that's a rideshare driver who is in need this season, just send us a Facebook message. Tell us a little bit about the story, and we would love to get involved and do a fundraiser of sorts that will be coming up in the next week or so as we get those nominations in.
Yeah, and thanks, guys. This has been so fun. This whole rideshare kind of thing, podcasting, live streaming. We love our fans, our super fans. like Larry, Duncan, I believe. I mean, I think that's his last name, and Paula, Uber Paula. I wish she was on tonight. She's going to be bummed that she missed it. Yeah, well, it's funny. I think she's a complete YouTuber, and we don't really. There's not a way to communicate like we can on Facebook, like, hey, we're live streaming tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. So I just want to say thank you for all our fans out there. We love doing this. We love interacting with you. And if you ever have a question or maybe something that we need to know, like a tip that we can tell other people, feel free to message us. We would hook you up. So, all right, Ben, I think we're good. You guys have a good night. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thanks.
Thank you so much.